Well, this is one of my favorite things in the world. It's antelope hunting in New Mexico, and this right here is a special hunt for me. My buddy Bernie Kuntz has a mobility impaired permit. And I told him, Bernie, if you apply and you draw, I'll take you to New Mexico. So here we are in my favorite antelope place in all of North America. It's what they call the Plains of San Augustin, known for big antelope. Bernie Kuntz is one of my, I guess you're just gonna say, hunting buddies. He's just a great guy. I've known Bernie for 22, 23 years. And as I've come to know him, I've come to understand Bernie has as much inside him about hunting as anybody I know. He has the heart of a hunter.
But even more than that, Bernie is an American hero. As a Marine, he spent an entire year as part of a reconnaissance unit in Vietnam. Following his service, he built a life in the outdoors as a public relations specialist for several fish and game agencies. Along the way, he found plenty of time to hunt, and he's been awfully good at it, including taking 2 Grand Slams of North American sheep.
When Bernie's health first started, I guess I'll say slipping, he was too proud to ask anyone to take him hunting. And I could see he was walking very, very difficultly. You could tell he was laboring in anything he did. And
I've known Randy for 20 odd years, and we've hunted whitetails together a couple, 3 times, I think, and elk once in Nevada.
today was a good day.
Saw a lot of elk.
Tomorrow will be even better.
And a decent number of bulls. My biggest concern with, I've got a, artificial hip and knee, and my right foot is dead, possibly from lower back problems or chemotherapy treatment or both. And I used to be a position rifle shooter in the Marine Corps, but I can't get down anymore into a sitting or kneeling position. And my biggest concern is, how am I going to get a shot, an accurate shot off at an antelope?
I offered, Bernie, if you draw the tag, I will help you. So we're down here. I'm just going to drive in class, because for me to expect Bernie to walk this country like I would do it, it's not feasible. And the good news is New Mexico has 10 what they call mobility impaired permits for this unit. And Bernie drew the one non-guided, non-resident permit. Lucky dog. But for me, to get people out hunting who probably thought maybe their hunting days were, if not done, at least closing fast, I don't know how you put a value on that. The experience that I will have to take Bernie on a hunt like this probably means more to me than it does to Bernie. After driving all the way from Montana, it took us a day and a half to get here. That afternoon, we had probably 4 or 5 hours. I told Bernie, I said, let's go make a big loop of the unit and see what we can find out there. And it was the very first buck that we saw. It was a very nice buck.
I see a buck, a good one out there, right over the top of that wooden fence.
Right here?
Yeah, right down in the bottom of the swale. He's walking left to right. I can see the dark black horns from here. It's a good buck.
Huh. All right, he's 16 inches long. He's got 5-inch prongs. That's 21, Bernie.
15 inches?
16.
16.
Ooh, I think I was conservative. He could be over 16. Because he's got that classic tall, hooked in look. Oh man, wish I had the tag. Well, my normal strategy for antelope is put them to bed the night before season, be out there at daylight before the sun even comes up, right near where they're at. And this buck with 4 other smaller bucks are out here about 600 yards. It's starting to get dark, so this is as good of a spot to start in the morning as any I can think of, and we know there's one really nice buck out there, so keeping our fingers crossed. I'd love to see Bernie shoot that buck. So excited to see him shoot it. I've got this tactic that I use for antelope hunting. My idea is put them to bed the night before, be there well before daylight the first morning, and hopefully shoot them. And what normally happens is antelope will go to bed and they won't move much unless they're pushed by coyotes or something. They're gonna probably be within 100 or 200 yards of where you put them to bed the night before. And so we get out here, the sun's coming up, we stop, set up the spotting scope, and within 5 minutes, I've got that buck in the spotting scope again. He's probably 1,000 yards out there. Unfortunately, there's no way I can get out there and get Bernie set up on him. Well, I would think any hunter worth his salt could walk up and lean against that fence post and put one right through him, right from here.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You're an old Marine, couldn't you belly crawl all the way out there? Huh? Part of what I'm doing right now is I'm glassing miles away because there's some more public land about 4 or 5 miles over there. And at this low light before the heat waves get real bad, you can just see white dots and blobs. So I'm marking where I'm seeing antelope over that way. Because that could be other places to go look. Well, there's a group of them right up in the tree. We probably watched him for, I don't know, hour and a half. And finally he beds down. And over to the side, probably 100 yards away, a doe and a fawn bed down. And Bernie and I had rehearsed that, all right, if we get a chance and the buck is bedded, we're gonna break out the cow decoy. And he's gonna come right behind me as fast as he can. And I'm gonna carry his chair, I'm gonna carry his rifle, I'm gonna carry his tripod, and we're just gonna close the distance and we're gonna get a shot on that buck. The buck's in the middle of those 3 antelope. The 2 does are looking at us. Not what I wanted. And we had a 50-50 chance. The doe and the fawn were gonna run that way, or they were gonna run towards the buck. What'd they do? They got up and they ran towards the buck, and when a scared animal runs by, a buck is gonna stand up and say, uh-oh, trouble. And he took off with them, and there wasn't much we could do. It was just, you know, bad luck. That's how it happens sometimes. We're gonna retreat right straight to the road. Go straight that way, Bernie.
Okay.
I'll pick you up on the road. And so we retreated, went back to the truck, and we sat there, and I just watched the buck in the spotting scope for another hour or so, and finally he went probably 1.25 miles away, and he bedded down. I think this is going to be a little more of a challenge than I thought, Bernie. At least with no undulation to the terrain here.
Yeah.
We bit off a mouthful with this one. So I told Bernie, you know what? Let's just leave him there. All you can see is his horns above that little bush. No one else is gonna see him. Let's go check out some of these other areas that we didn't get a chance to look at in scouting. And we'll come back here and we'll get him in his bed. And once he stands up, maybe he'll come our direction. We went, probably took, I don't know, 1.5 hours, 2 hours looking at other terrain. And I told Bernie, well, let's go swing by and make sure that buck is still bedded out there. And as we pulled up, there was already a vehicle parked there. And a hunter and 2 guides out there, and I look through the spotting scope and I'm like, oh no, that big buck is up out of his bed. Not just up and out of his bed, but he's moved all the way back to where he was in the morning. But there's one spot we'd seen him cross every time. So I told Bernie, let's let those guys do their thing. We'll go up to that spot where he always crosses and we'll get you set up. And if he keeps coming this direction, you're gonna get a shot. Okay, let's write it out. Okay.
We got set up, and I got set up in my little chair and got the rifle ready and everything, and he was coming right toward us.
All right, so we're here, the other hunters are here, and the buck is coming like this, and we're set up. Well, unfortunately, the buck comes across broadside in front of those other hunters, and we're ranging it, and the buck's about 350 yards from us, coming our direction, and all of a sudden I hear boom, crack, and I just see the buck do a nosedive. I'm like, oh no, you gotta be kidding me. Well, Bernie, so much for that one. That was the big buck we've been chasing for 2 days.
You're always going to have competition on public land, and when somebody gets the animal and you don't, that's just the way it is.
I'm gonna walk out there and see how big he is, though. If he's as big as we thought they were. Here, you can turn the AC on.
The other hunter was in a serious accident out of country, and he was genuinely disabled, and he worked hard, and he made a good shot on the animal, and I'm happy for him.
He's a really nice buck. Super nice buck. Just I like how he kind of cocks forward a little bit. He's, I'm guessing he's gonna be between 80 and 82. I might be wrong, but. What do? I mean, it's public land. You're excited for the fact that someone else had success. Even if they kind of snatched it right out from under your nose, that's the way it goes. Anytime you see a mobility impaired hunter fight through what he's fought through, go out there, get it done, and shoot such a marvelous buck, I was happy for him. Now it was kind of, all right, let's hit the reset button. Let's go find the other bucks on our list, because we had a pretty good inventory of what was here. And we had another one that was really a heavier buck, maybe not as tall as that other buck, but was really nice. Part of the drill was we'd drive to a spot, I'd tell Bernie, you just wait in the truck, and I'd walk up on these berms and I'd glass for 10 or 15 minutes. No, that's not him, that's not him. Come back to the truck, tell Bernie what I saw, drive to the next spot, go to the next big area that I can glass, get up, glass there, and every time you'd set up the spotting scope, you'd see bucks. But for the first day anyhow, I was hoping that we could encounter one of those other big bucks. That one remaining big buck was kind of the hit list for the rest of, at least the rest of the day. And we never found him until right at dark that first night. And he and his group of does were way out in this big grass area, and with the spotting scope you could just tell, oh man, that's him for sure. Well, Bernie, this buck that's out here is one definitely that you would have shot opening morning. I say that tomorrow morning we either be right here or on the other side of them. Actually, I want to be on the other side of them, because when the sun comes up, I want to have the sun at our back. So we put them to bed. I told Bernie, they are going to be there in the morning, no doubt about it. Well, what do you say we load it up, Bernie? I'll let you walk for the next mile or two, get some exercise.
Just bring your rope and drag my ass.
Bernie owns the traveling profanity trophy, and it looks like he's not in any way, shape, or form willing to give it up. The next morning, we're out there at daylight, before daylight, waiting for the sun to come up. And I get out and I glass, and there they are. But they've been shot at already. I mean, somehow, some way, they're associating vehicles with danger. You know, Bernie, my theory of put them to bed and find them in the morning worked, but I didn't find them close enough. And so the sun starts coming up and it's reflecting off my vehicle, and they look over there and whoosh, they took off. They just won't stop.
Not stopping.
Well, gotta try.
It's called a swing and a miss. We finally determined about midday on the second day of the hunting, it's only a 3-day season, that we better start looking for something to shoot that is maybe smaller than our ideal buck that got harvested out from under us. So we were looking for several hours and saw very little. Pretty soon Randy spotted a buck at about 250 yards, and I got all set up on it, could have had a shot, and we both determined, no, we're not gonna take this buck quite yet.
We passed the bigger ones.
Yeah, I think we had a pass on this one too, I think. So we got back in the truck and traveled some more, and off to the right we saw 2 young bucks standing, and they were only a little over 100 yards, and we passed on them. Within 20 minutes, we spotted a third buck another half a mile up the trail, and I looked through the binoculars and I said, this is a good buck. I think we ought to go after this one.
Bernie's already walking up the fence a ways. If we can get within 200 yards, I think he can make the shot. He's good, yeah. That's a dead antelope. Holy cow, Bernie. You got him.
All right.
Good shot. He's going. He's going. There he did the flip, Bernie.
Thanks for all your help.
Oh. And that quick, in the matter of just a few minutes, Bernie's tag is filled. And he is excited. That was a perfect job.
Oh, jeez. Ah!
And he turned and he looked at me with that big grin, and that was what I came here for. I came here to see Bernie's grin, to see Bernie's expression when he turned to me with that big smile that said, I did it. I'm still a hunter. I don't have to give it up.
It's probably right at 14 inches, a little better maybe.
Yeah, I would say so.
First New Mexico big game I've taken of any kind. It's my 40th pronghorn antelope in the last 52 years?
Bernie, I hope we get to do this again.
As long as you're willing to put up with me.
Well, you know, we hunted elk in Nevada, what?
5 years ago.
And that was a really tough hunt. And this time we got a little more to show for it. And the next time, hopefully the same will happen. But I sure appreciate you.
Well, thank you again for bringing me.
I told you if you applied, I was coming to help you.
And you were true to your word.
Well, let's get some pictures for you here.
Okay.